right, so this video is from Hamza. Yeah, he's a self-improvement YouTuber. His main audience is like young men who are trying to improve. And I came across this video and I was like, this is interesting. We got to talk about it because I think there's probably a lot of good stuff in here, but maybe some stuff we disagree with. Plus we have experience. So we can go about it.
This is about getting jacked?
It's about, yeah. So 5 biggest reasons you can't gain muscle. And well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons people don't gain muscle, but I'm curious what he's going to tell people.
Let's check it out.
How well it's going to do.
I think I've built a pretty good physique. Here's some good pictures of me. I've been on this gym now for about 8 years.
Does this guy always wear this amazing robe? All the videos? Look at that thing.
I saw these dickheads, and you probably see them as well, who are telling you not to bulk, and instead they're telling you to do what's called Maingain. Maingain, maintenance, whatever the
Maintenance.
Who says this shit? It's
Doucette.
a really popular YouTuber, like he's like an old bodybuilder.
I like the thumbs up. That was
I
great.
genuinely don't remember his name right.
Greg's going to make a video about that.
That was a little bit of shade.
Greg's going to make a video about that.
Coach Greg is crying right now.
What do you think about the Maingain thing?
I think one of the biggest issues with some of the younger people or people that are just new to fitness in general, one of the biggest reasons to get yourself into the gym is to gain muscle mass. And I think if you're trying to maingain or you're trying to be lean or trying to have abs while you're trying to build out muscle, if the abs are kind of the main concern, you're probably just going to be skinny because you don't have anything quite yet.
And when we were younger, like there wasn't Instagram or social media, right? And I think that kind of messes with people because like when younger guys are looking at fitness influencers and they're all lean and they have abs, it makes it hard to be like, I need to just grow. Because one of the reasons why a lot of these influencers are able to stay lean, like we're usually pretty lean, is because we had the time when we were younger to put all that muscle on. I got up to 270 at a certain point. You've been 330, right? So we've had
a little bit of chub on me, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So we gave ourselves the time to put on muscle, eat a lot of fucking food. Like I've bulked before, but being where I am now, I wouldn't go on a bulk again. Like maintaining can be a thing for me now. But when you're younger, you got to put in the time and you got to eat enough to grow.
I think, again, just to reiterate, like if someone is new to training and they're just trying to get leaner, they might not really notice much of a better physique because they don't have the muscle mass yet. So you have to, it's going to take a while to gain that muscle mass, work on the muscle mass first.
Young men not to bulk. I think Kino Body says this, like these fucking like fitness influencers essentially tell you.
So Kino Body talks about fasting and stuff too. And we talk about fasting on the show. We've been utilizing fasting for years now. But if you're a young guy who's trying to grow, you don't have a reason to fast unless some people, if you're very overweight, a little bit of restricted feeding can be beneficial. But if you're underweight and you need to put some mass on, there's no reason to fuck with fasting yet.
The single most important thing for you to do to build muscle is not to maingain, it's not to do this shit. You know what it is? Bulk. The single most important thing for you to do is to bulk.
I think it sounds good, man.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do need to be a little bit bigger. And I actually like that he's encouraging people to eat. Be interesting, moving forward, what he encourages them to eat.
It is helpful to use the time when you're younger because you got a cocktail of fucking hormones when you're a kid. You're not just gaining muscle, but you're gaining so much different shit because you're growing that you can eat a lot, and if you're working out, you can fucking grow.
To look good lean, you need to first bulk up heavy. And this isn't to say that you should dirty bulk or, to eat shit, because that's the second reason why I didn't gain much muscle, because I ate a lot of shit during my bulk. That is a major. You see these dickheads eating Krispy Kreme donuts and telling you, yeah, just get the calories in, bro, just get the calories.
What's one of the issues you think with those kinds of foods?
Well, blood sugar, right? You notice that when you eat really sugary food and you eat quite a bit of it, you will have this energy burst, but immediately you'll start to feel lethargic. What tends to happen if you do that too often and you eat like that too often, it's going to impact the way you actually perform in the gym, because if you don't have as much energy for your workout, that compounds from workout to workout to workout. So even though you took in those calories, your workouts are not going to be as quality. Compare that to like fucking rice, potato, just like actual food. Also, what happens is like your body can actually get full because processed food doesn't tend to activate ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, and leptin, which is the hormone that makes you understand you're full, which is why people can tend to overeat cereal, overeat Oreos, overeat donuts, but try to overeat fucking apples or rice.
Critique that I have to these dirty bulk guys, which no one has ever said in the fitness industry before. Calories are not the same. Even macros are not the same. Protein and protein is not the same. You do realize that people don't ever say this, right?
We've been talking about this for a long time on this show. So
Yeah.
it's not that no one ever said it. Dickhead.
Like, yeah, you know, we had Gabriel Lyon on, and we've had a lot of people who have come and talk about protein, like, you know, the protein from whey protein, because of the amino acids, you're going to absorb more from that protein versus plant protein because they're more bioavailable amino acids from animal protein.
100%. Yeah, animal protein superior. Eggs are really high up on the list. Whey protein's really high up on the list of bioavailable amino acids. And then obviously meat as well.
30 grams of protein from whey protein will build you more muscle than 30 grams of protein from some bullshit like vegan protein, soy or some shit. It literally has a different impact on your body, even though the macro is still 30 grams. 100 grams of carbs from ice cream compared to 100 grams of carbs from potatoes will change your body composition. You will gain more fat, even if it's the same calories.
Like we just talked about, you're going to perform differently when eating pure processed foods from eating real food. So food quality is a big deal, and it will affect your performance even if the calories are the same.
And we talk a lot on this show about protein leveraging. Me personally, you know, being 330 pounds at one time, being on a perpetual lifetime bulk and allowing myself to grow and expand in many more ways than one, in my face and my stomach and my ass. And it really helped me a lot with my goals because my goals were centered around powerlifting. But to be able to remove a lot of that body fat, it was protein leveraging that helped me a ton. And the diet was built out around that. And it was primarily, and still is primarily, meat, eggs, some protein shakes here and there. And then I have some fruit, potatoes, rice, stuff like that is in the diet, which is all just natural foods.
Because the athlete these days that tells people, oh, look at my diet, I just eat chicken and rice and stuff, that's seen as an eating disorder. The athlete who eats clean is now seen as the guy with an eating disorder.
Ooh,
and
good
now
point.
the second reason why you're not making enough muscle, you're eating shit food. When you eat shit food, you gain more body fat. Even if it's the same calories, you gain more body fat. Because if you have that ice cream today, your performance in the gym tomorrow is going to go down. Of course it is. You're going to feel more lethargic, your insulin's spiking up, you feel tired. You're going to end up spending more time on the couch after you've ate some shit food.
I don't necessarily agree. Like, some small amounts of some shitty food isn't really going to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. But I do love the fact that he's hammering over and over again, like, guys, like, get more serious about your fucking diet.
Yeah.
You know, the people that are listening to this right now, you got to be at like an 8 or a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, every day with your nutrition.
The reason why you're not gaining enough muscle is your testosterone's probably too low. The majority of men have low testosterone levels.
Yeah, I do think that nowadays young men do have certain habits that can decrease testosterone, like playing a fuck ton of video games. I have nothing against them. I do dig video games, but overdoing that. And we had Andrew Huberman on the podcast. He talked about porn's effect on testosterone. You should watch that video. But I'm a millennial. I'm 30 years old. And I was one of that test generation that, like, internet porn was out when I was like 8 years old, and I ended up starting it at 11, and I was addicted for hella years. But what I found, and when I look back on it, is that because I would watch porn and have the bad habit of just watching beaten off and shit, there are certain days that I'd do that and I just wouldn't have the energy to go and do the things that I knew I wanted to do. And it was an addiction. It wasn't like, oh yeah, just watch porn once a week and I'm fun. No, I was watching shit every single day. And since it's it's just a fucking hyper stimulus, it's easy for young guys to get addicted to that and seek that instead of doing the things that are hard, like working out. If you're a young guy who's watching a lot of porn, get your shit together, try to figure out how to get that out of your system, and try to build habits that are going to lead you towards doing harder things.
The fourth reason that I can think of was you're not gaining enough muscle. You're simply not training hard enough. But a lot of guys, do you want to know why you're probably not building muscle? Honestly, and you won't like to hear this. No man would ever want to hear this, bro. You're probably training like a little bitch. You're probably training like a pussy. You're probably training at about a 4 out of 10 intensity, which you call more like an 8, but it's a 4. Now, you're also
That's true. I think he is alluding to this. We've all made the mistakes, and I know I've definitely made a mistake of having just stupid hard training sessions when I was younger. Like training sessions that got me injured because I was pushing way too hard, and I could have just lowered the intensity a little bit and been able to go to the gym the next day and the next day and the next day. So when you start working out, you got this hype and you're like, fucking failure. You're pushing, but you fatigue yourself so much that you can't have quality workouts from session to session. So that's just something to try to be careful with. Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we talk about sleep all the time on the podcast because it's one of the biggest things that helps you with your health and fitness, your recovery, your muscle gain, your fat loss, everything. That's why I've partnered with 8 Sleep for such a long time now, because the technology behind the mattress allows you to track your heart rate, the amount of times it takes you to fall asleep, your tosses and turns, your heart rate variability. It changes its temperature through the night based off how you sleep, but not only yourself, but maybe your partner on the other side of the bed. It is an amazing mattress. Andrew, how can they learn more?
Yes, head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject. That's 8 spelled out, EIGHT, sleep.com/powerproject. Along with more information, you guys will actually save $150 off of your entire order automatically. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
No wonder that you hear those guys who are really good at, like the professional bodybuilders and everything. They train for like 45 minutes. Why? Because their fucking one set is worth 5 of ours. You see in videos of Arnold, he's literally making that fucking like triple chin face once he's doing chest press. That's how you're supposed to train, right? But at the same time, I don't expect you to totally believe me, because all of those YouTubers who are lying to you, who are scamming you, who are showing you Krispy Kreme donuts, who are telling you to Maingain, will also say that this is overtraining. So you can trust them if you want and stay skinny fat.
I like a lot of what Hamza is saying, but one thing that I think it's partially why he's been able to grow so much is because when people created like an us versus them type deal, like these people are scamming you, they're doing this, it makes you kind of believe more of what somebody's saying. Like, yeah, fuck them, I believe you. I think we got to be a little bit careful with that, because like a lot of these, like Greg Doucette, Lane Norton, Alan Aragon, like Jesse, like all these other, like Russ Swall, all these people, they're doing different things, but they have different pieces. And I think that we can learn from a lot of different people rather than thinking like, we have different people that talk about diets all the time on the podcast, from carnivores to vegans. But people like to be like, this is the one right way and this is the one right way. Just stay away from that type of thinking. I don't think it's fruitful. I don't think it's helpful for you to be able to actually learn more and progress.
Yeah, really what you want to try to take home from people is, what is their explanation good? Forget about the color of everything that he's throwing out at you here with the cartoons and all the other stuff. Like, don't get swallowed up by that and then just all of a sudden believe everything that he says, because now you're in the same category of believing somebody that putting too much power in someone's hands. And you want to be able to sift through, like, does he have good explanations of the things that he's talking about? And so far, it seems like most of his explanations are good.
The 5th reason that you're probably not building muscle, you probably would think it's that you're not sleeping enough. Sleep is important for testosterone and muscle, but the truth is that a lot of guys who are jacked actually don't even sleep that well. Everyone's going to disagree with this. No, Hamza, sleep is really vital. Hear my argument, right? There's student bodybuilders, guys who are in university, who party, who take drugs, who drink, who go to sleep at like 2 a.m. I was one of them, and still build an okay amount of muscle. Now, yeah, you can say they've got noob gains, but some of them are pretty jacked whilst they're like, you can imagine the college frat boy who's drinking alcohol and going to sleep at like 4 a.m., sleeping for like 3 hours before he needs to wake up, and they're still building some muscle. So I don't think sleep is like as important as we say it is.
This is okay. So
he did end by saying he doesn't think it's maybe as important as people are leading to be.
He did these things in college. He drank and he partied a bit, but he's still able to gain some muscle. And I understand that. And we can do a lot of things despite us doing things that might be fucking with our progress. We still might be able to make progress. But the thing is, at this point, with the amount of people we've talked to and the amount that we know about sleep is something that is a non-negotiable. Like, you should be trying to get quality sleep, because number one, sleep affects your testosterone, right? Sleep affects your hormones. Sleep affects like your hunger hormones, ghrelin, leptin, the hormone that helps you feel fuller, affects all these things. So if you have a lack of sleep, you're going to feel hungrier through the day. Food won't make you feel as full. Your testosterone won't be as good. Your workouts, you won't be able to recover as well from session to session versus if you got less sleep. One thing to think about is, like, he's definitely a driven guy. So, like, the thing is when you're driven, like, we know Goggins, you've heard of like all these high performers who are like, fuck sleep, get money. Like, I understand if you're driven, you'll work yourself through it. But at the end of the day, why not put all of the factors in your favor to be able to progress as well as you possibly could? Out of everything you said in this video, I would say that this is a big miss. And if you're a guy that can optimize your sleep, optimize your fucking sleep.
Yeah, and one of his top reasons for not being able to gain muscle was low testosterone. But we know better sleep is going to lead to better testosterone levels. And then also for the young guys, if you want your dick to work a lot better, you need to get that sleep.
Yes.
Like, it's that important. So I agree. It's just definitely a miss.
Yeah.
There's actually something that I think is more important than that, which is kind of common sense, but it's progressive overload in the right way.
Sleep will help you be able to progress better in the gym.
Sleep's going to help you with everything. I mean, it literally will, right? Like it's going to help. It's going to help better decisions with your diet. It's going to help you be better in your relationship. It's going to help you to be less nervous, have less anxiety. It can help just about everything. Obviously, you can overdo it. And there's some people that are depressed that stay in bed, and like that's not what we're talking about. But trying to optimize your sleep and get good, comfortable, quality sleep will help just about everything.
What you need to do to progressively overload is choose the exercise first of all. Let's say flat bench press. Then choose the rep range that you're going to use this exercise for. So for example, you'll choose 10 to 15. If you want to build muscle, 10 to 15 is usually the best. A lot of people say 8 to 12. All of the dickheads who are trying to sell you their strength programs will tell you 5 reps and stuff.
Okay, what you say right here is pretty interesting. We've had Andre Milanichev on the podcast, and he's like a powerlifter who's top 10 all time at some point. He was huge too, but he talked about within somebody's first 3 years of training, I think he put it, he said that you should be focusing on volume. Meaning you should be focusing on 8 to 15 reps, training for volume, building muscle to give yourself a base so that you can start to train for strength effectively. There are other powerlifters we know who have actually done this. Russ Swole was a former bodybuilder. And even myself, I lifted bodybuilding style for probably like 13 to maybe 20 years old. And then it was when I was 20 or 21 that I started doing deadlifts and squats and stuff. But since I already put on a good amount of size, I was able to get strong quickly because the muscle was there.
So you've chosen the exercise, you chose the rep range for that exercise. What you do is you first pick a weight that you assume you could probably hit for 15 reps. Once I know what I could hit for 15 reps, I then reset back to 10 reps with a heavier weight. So now I'll do 65 kilograms for 10 reps. Yeah, that was kind of easy. Let's do that now next week for 11 reps. Eventually you will get to the point where you're actually being deeply challenged by this rep range.
I like the shift in focus. You know, it might help some people. It might help people not to hurt themselves because people get so obsessed with the weight.
One of the things that gets people injured the most, and I've injured myself when I was younger, was chasing weight, meaning trying to put more weight on the bar or pick up heavier dumbbells because I was like, got to do heavier. But if you work with heavier weight before you're prepared for it, that is the easiest way for you to fuck yourself up. But if you just focus on trying to increase the reps you're doing with that load, much safer progression, much easier way to get in more training volume in a safer manner. That makes sense. As far as progressive overload is concerned, there's a lot of ways. If you slow down your reps, right? Because some tempo, that mind-muscle connection shit, it is not a fucking myth. There are bodybuilders who, because they're able to connect to muscles better, they could get away with a lighter weight bicep curl than you working with 50s. They can do better with 30s. If you slow down the reps and you make sure that, okay, is this bicep curl, am I doing it with my bicep or am I using momentum and adjusting so I can work with heavier load? Tempo is another way that you can increase your ability to have progressive overload. Don't just think about just the reps or just the weight. Think of other ways that you can focus on getting that muscle to actually work the way it should.
Bonus number 6, the reason why you're not making muscle, which I briefly mentioned, is that you're training for strength instead of muscle. Muscle growth comes from hypertrophic rep range. And yeah, if you train for some strength, you may get some bits of muscle, but if you care mostly or solely for muscle gain.
This is an interesting thing. When I added strength training in when I was like 20, 21, after I already had like a good 7 years of muscle building training, it's like I got another set of newbie gains. Because now, since I was able to be stronger, I was able to go to those movements that I was progressing before, and I was able to push them with more volume because I was now overall stronger. I agree with him with starting with hypertrophy, and that should help you build your base. But at a certain point where you become a bit more experienced, do some strength training because you're going to be able to progress your physique even more.
In my own experience and stuff, have noticed that people that power lift, they seem to have a completely different look a lot of times, to the point where their body looks 3D, where you can't really tell, like, what's the difference between that guy and what's the difference between that guy. Okay, that guy's leaner, but there's something different about that other dude.
And we're not talking about the powerlifter who just eats. We're talking about the performance powerlifter.
Yeah, someone like Dan Green comes to mind, years ago.
I mentioned it, but Russ Swole's another example of that. Like that man looks 3D.
He's unbelievable. He just most likely wouldn't have that physique if he only concentrated on bodybuilding.
The muscle building rep range. People say it starts from 8, and it probably does, but 8 still builds like too much strength, in my opinion. It's too heavy to maximize your muscle growth. 10 to 15, even 4 compound lifts seems the best case scenario.
He mentioned the 8 reps will build a little bit too much strength. Let me say this, there's nothing wrong with getting stronger. It will allow you to move more reps for the movements you're trying to do. So I mean, I get what he's saying about like, just don't do singles and doubles and triples when you're first starting. I can understand that, but getting stronger is not a bad thing. This was a really good video though. I think overall it was solid. It was a lot of good information, especially for younger guys. They take that advice, they'll do well. The one thing I'll say is learn how to optimize your sleep. We've talked about it a lot. That is a big deal. That is something that can speed up your progress a lot more than other things. Your low testosterone cravings, whatever, sleep can help you out. So don't glaze over it like he mentioned. But other than that, he had a lot of amazing info.
Yeah, be a student of this stuff, you know, search around, look on YouTube, check out and see what other people are doing and sift through it. It's not easy to always sift through it, but
It's not easy.
I thought he had a lot of great information there too. And he's encouraging people to be a little more intense in the gym. He's encouraging people to be more intentional with their diet. I mean, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
What I like is he wasn't talking about chasing the number on the bar or the number on the dumbbell. It was more of like that stimulus, which is what we've been preaching for a long time now. And that's definitely helped my training, and it's helped my physique for sure, is by just focusing on that, not necessarily what number is on the bar.
Whether you're trying to be strong or whether you're trying to have muscle or whether you're trying to be lean, all of this takes a really long time.
Yes.
It takes a lot of effort. To be lean is like a full-time job because it's all day, every day. You got to think about your sleep, the hours that you're awake. You got to think about the food that you ingest. You got to think about your hydration. Like there's a lot of shit to go through. So if you're having a hard time with it, it's no surprise. It's actually very difficult. Become a student of it. Be a white belt and try to learn as much as you can. I've dug the video myself too. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.